This video is about self-diagnosing. And I remember I did this a lot in the beginning of my journey because I was like, well, what else could this be? This is obviously ALS, like what the fuck? Gotta clean that. Or MS. Oh, I've been down the ALS, MS rabbit hole. I'm sure a lot of you also have. What else? Oh, the classics, right? Trigger warning, I guess. I should have said that in the beginning. I thought I had ALS, MS, cancer, something wrong with my brain, like a blood clot, right? I thought I was going to have a stroke any second. I thought I was going to die of some sort of something or other disease that's going to start breaking my body down, and I was going to eventually suffer or be in a wheelchair or whatever. Because, you know, when you're in a state of fight or flight, 70 symptoms, they look like things that are, you know, scary. And they're scary by themselves, right? And some of these scary things that we hear about, right? I'm not going to talk about this much, but I think if they were to bring down their baseline and turn off alarms, right, and recalibrate, I'm pretty confident a lot of these things will go away. But it's not something that I like to talk about too much because they're really touchy subjects, right? So I just stick to the regular disease and the regular chronic illnesses that we all know about. So here's the thing. Self-diagnosing, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help you, right? Because unless a doctor, you know, fully diagnosed you, don't assume you got it, right? Because all you're doing is you're just creating more of a hell that is unnecessary. You create these labels, you live that reality, right? And when you live that reality, you're bringing your baseline up like crazy. And it's going to keep sending you the symptoms that reaffirms to you your belief, right? Your bucket's going to get full right quick. You know what? I think 70% of all my health issues have to do with me looping on my symptoms, right? Like the video I did the other day. My trauma came from my symptoms, right? Sure, it was a shit show. I went through shit shows in my life that brought me there, right? But having these things manifest and show their ugly faces, these ugly alarms, is what got me more sick. Because they're scary. Alarms are scary when they happen, right? Mental and physical alarms, when you don't know what's going on because we haven't been given a manual. You can loop on symptoms and fill up your bucket, bring up your baseline to 1,000, and that can turn on all the alarms, right? Just from symptoms. And it's like an inner battle that happens just from yourself. Imagine if we could just, recalibrate the fears about our symptoms. You wouldn't have much left, and everything else would just regulate on its own. It'd be so much easier. But of course, we don't have a manual, so you got to take programs. You got to learn how to do it, and you got to make mistakes, and you got to fall on your face. You got to do it the fucking hard way, and this is the only way. The hard way is the way. You got to go through it. You can't go over it. You can't avoid it, right? You got to go through it. It fucking sucks. I know. It's hell, right? The funny thing is, we do things because we think we're going to get relief. But no, not this journey. This journey, the more you do it, the worse it gets, right? And then you might have some peaks of relief. And actually, for me, my mental alarms got worse and worse and worse right up to the end. Right up to the last second of recovery. Right? It was like, I was like, right? Now all of a sudden, quiet. Peace. I'm recovered. Holy fuck. I'm recovered. Fuck. That's good. That's good. Right? I had peace. It was magical. I'm sure I had some spikes after that. But to me, the spikes were like, this is amazing. I love this spike. This is so cute. It's amazing. I've overcome so much. I've learned so much shit. My brain works like clockwork. I can predict it before it happens. I know exactly what it's going to do, right? I'm full control, right? It's like a big control center, and I'm just like, doot, 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 right? I know it all. Like, I've trained myself to learn all the controls, right? I don't need a manual. I'll write the manual. So there has been situations, well, myself, I did this, where I was living in reality where I thought I had XYZ diseases, syndromes, illnesses, right? And then I finally wanted to get some clarity. I was like, I remember, oh man, it's a little embarrassing, but I remember I was feeling dizzy. This is before my big shitstorm, right? I had many shitstorms that happened through my life, many, right? This was before my big 70 symptoms, perfect storm. So we're going back now 10 years, maybe 10 years, 10 years. I started getting some symptoms manifesting, right? Because I was in a toxic relationship I just got out of, and my bucket was fucking, it was up to here, right? It's had enough. And it was enough for me to have some symptoms, for me to loop on the symptoms, right? For me to fucking lose my mind. And this is, when you don't know, when you're lost at sea, you become a professional researcher, right? 8 hours a day. My phone must have been getting his ass handed to itself. Like, it must have really gotten a fucking handful with all the research that I was doing, like, constantly, like, right? I was in such an adrenaline state, constantly, right? I wasn't looking for reassurance anymore. I was looking to find out what was wrong with me, and I became this fucking, okay, the T cells, if the T cells are okay, well, the T, well, right? And then the XYZ fucking, right? I was getting right into it. I was becoming a Google doctor. Like the best, right? Best Google doctor. I had the SIBO, I had everything, right? I had the, ALS, MS, right? You fucking name it. And then it was time for me to go get some answers. So I was like, okay, well, I'm dizzy. I feel off balance. I feel, it's got to be something with the brain. And I'm feeling all kinds of things that don't make any sense. It was like a mini shit show. Not the big shit show that I had 3 years ago. This one's the little mini one. So I saw a neurologist. He said, okay, Helmut, we're going to do a battery of tests. We're going to throw every test at you. And I was like, yes. Yeah, give me all the tests. Because that, for me, was reassurance, and I needed answers. I needed fucking answers, right? So this testing took me about 3 months. They checked my ears. They checked my brain. I had MRIs. I had... I swear I had over 60 to 70 different blood tests. Fucking insane. There'd be this nurse going, okay, you got all these tubes, like all these bunch of tubes, right? It's like, all right. I'm like, do I have enough blood for this shit? Like, what the fuck? So I like, okay, just relax. And then, of course, it'd be a day where they couldn't find a vein, right? I was like, oh, fuck. Right? And then those were the shit days. And I knew, I was doing this so much that I knew which nurse was really good at taking blood from me, right? And I already knew. I'd be like, use the butterfly thing. Okay, yeah. So that butterfly thing is so like they could find the vein, so it wasn't, they weren't gonna hurt me every time they were doing this. And it always ended up being the older lady who was like, here, don't need that thing here. Yeah, it's gonna prick a little bit, and we're done. Okay, they're pros. Some of them are pros. Some of them hurt a bit, and some of them you barely noticed anything. And then I would always ask, can I have him? Can I have her? Can I have him? And you don't want to offend anybody, right? You don't want to get the other person that they fucking right, and they fucking stab you with the fucking needle to get blood out. No, man, like I didn't want to deal with those, because it would take me fucking a week and a half to fucking heal, and it hurts so much. You go right. With the people that knew how to draw blood, it's like, oh fuck, man. Yeah, no fuck. Yeah, no problem, man. Fucking no problem. So anyway, I had all the tests done. And in that span, I think it was like almost 3 months, because this neurologist was so busy. Fucking so busy. And he was like well known. I found out later that he was also well known for also being a sexual predator, which was fucking shocking, right? But I didn't really care about that at the time, because I was more worried about, my health. So, which is crazy that this guy was doing some shit. So anyway, I go into the office. He's like, all right, Helmut. He had all the tests here. He's like, all right, so I'm going to give you some news, and you might not like it. I'm like, give it to me. He's like, So the gist of it is that there's actually nothing wrong with you. We couldn't find anything. Right? And this was 10 years ago. I was like, what? And before that meeting, it took me 3 months to get all the answers, because I had to do all the tests. I had to book the tests. I had to do the tests. And there was a lot of tests. Right? And then he's busy. So I had to, book a time for all the test results to come in. And then he would tell them to me. So let's back up a little bit. In that 3 months, waiting for test results is fucking hell. So for me, I was like, okay, this is hell. You know what? I'm past that. I have MS, or I have ALS, and I started joining the MS forums, the ALS forums, right? And I started getting prepared mentally. I'm like, okay, what? I'm gonna need a wheelchair. I started telling people, my friends, my daughter, I was taking her for a walk. I'm like, we got to go for walks now, because one day I won't be able to walk. You're gonna be pushing me in a wheelchair. I'll still be alive. Medications nowadays are great. People can live long lives anyway, and we'll be able to have our conversations, and I just won't be able to walk, right? This is how reality sucked me in. I've had many doctors at that time tell me, Helmut, you have a problem with health anxiety. You got to, you should go on medications. You should go, I remember I used to give them a list of my symptoms, right? Full sheet, front and back, with highlighting, right? Fucking numbered and organized with a ruler, and all right, okay, number 52, right? And the doc, as soon as you okay, what did you want to talk about? You give them the paper like that, and they look at it and they go, I think we should talk about health anxiety. I think you have health anxiety, right? And I'd be like, what's health anxiety? What is that? What do you mean? What is that? Right? I didn't even know what that was. Right? I had everything under the sun, right? But then I also had my shitstorm. Well, I thought I had everything, and then 70 symptoms pop out of nowhere, and it's like, oh no, you're gonna learn some shit. You're gonna learn today. Well, you're gonna learn for 3 years from now, actually. So I joined all these, not just ALS or MS forums. I joined a bunch of fucking forums with all kinds of diseases, right? Because I thought I had everything, right? Because, well, what else explains this? And I was talking to people that had these illnesses, became friends with them, and I said, okay, what medication are you using? So I would research the medications. I'm like, okay, this one's expensive, but this one's really good. But if you get off this one, you get a rebound effect. So I don't want to have that happen to me. And then I would look for like other forms of therapy that had nothing to do with medications. I wanted to go natural, right? So I was into the diets, the protocols, right? And then you hear about the success stories of people who are able to walk again, right? So I fucking dove deep into that, right? Into everything. And then, the appointment comes, I go in, and the doctor, he's told me, everything's, you're fine. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I can tell you. I don't know what's frustrating. And I was like, at that moment, I was so happy, but I was also very upset, and I was also very, very confused. Because for the last 4 months before my appointment, I created this reality, and I was already prepared. I had everything on the go. I knew what medications I would use. I knew I was going to go on disability. I thought, right? And I had everything in place, what I was going to do. I identified the label as my new reality. And I lived my life according to it. And I made friends according to it. So this is my new life now. This is me. Right? And then when they tell you, that's not you, I was almost upset. One of the reasons why I was upset was because I did not know how to detox this reality from me. Because this is all I was living for 3 months. Right? 3 months might not seem like a long time, but it does feel like a long time if you've been living it second by second, that reality. Right? All of a sudden it feels like you've been living it 10 years. When you go down all the rabbit holes, join all the groups, research all the medications, right? You start to wear that reality. And I was also frustrated because I'm like, well, how do you explain all my symptoms? At that time, I had over 30 symptoms. Really weird ones, right? Just like the recent perfect storm that I had when I had the 70. They were just as weird, some things that didn't make sense. They were structural, right? I'm like, MS is the only thing that would totally explain all these things that happened at the same time. Then what is it? Right? And then the doctor said, oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. I know it's frustrating, but there's good news. Maybe just, I don't know what to tell you. I know this is frustrating. I feel your pain. I'm like, okay. Then I went home, and it took me about a week to, actually probably a month, to fully let go. Right? And I was confident that actually the first couple of days I was like, I don't know. My mom was like, okay, Helmut, you have all the tests done, so please do not come with an idea or tell me in a couple of days that you don't believe the doctor what he say. You had all the tests. You don't have MS, Helmut. It's anxiety, I told you. Listen to me. And at that point, I wasn't even challenging anything yet. She almost put it in my mind. So for a week, I was like, I think he missed something. There's no way. The doctor, he said, Helmut, let's take a look at your brain. I'm like, oh, okay. He showed me the MRI. It's going in my brain. See this here? Yeah. See a little bit, something a little bit here. That's but that's normal. That's fine. That's normal. We see that all the time. Oh, what's that? What's that in my brain? Oh, it's a little, a little bit, it's something benign, but don't worry about that. Let's look in your liver. Let's go in your, little benign thing there. Don't look that. Let's look at your back. Oh, you got a slip disc there. Okay. Don't worry. That's normal. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. You can see it's the, okay. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So it's like, almost like, okay, show me the news. And he's like, but don't worry about that. That's normal. I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay. But he was showing me my body, all the tests, all the things, right? And, I had the Lyme test done and everything. He's like, no, everything, there's nothing there. We ruled everything out, Helmut. Everything's ruled out. And you already know you have the UC. Right, you're seeing a specialist with that. I'm like, okay. And then, for a week after, I was like, maybe they missed something. And I was going through all the 3 months of me getting tests done with my ears and my, the blood work and the MRIs, CT scans, you name it. Right? I'm remembering all the me going through. Right. Rewinding through all the bullshit, and my mom going, that's it, no more, go and live your life, Helmut. It's anxiety, that's all. Go back to work. You're okay, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay, go live your life. So after a week I thought, you know what, that's fucking crazy. My brain was able to create a reality, many realities, and I went headfirst into them, and I lived that life. And you know what? If I would have kept going, I probably would have manifested certain symptoms that would have kept me stuck for many years to come. And I self-diagnosed myself everywhere, all over the fucking place. So I think I needed to experience that to remember not to fucking do that for when the 70 symptoms came back, when I had that perfect storm happen to me. I think that experience in my life needed to be there to teach me, hey, don't go down that rabbit hole again. I still did go down that rabbit hole the second time when I had the big storm, but it didn't last long. So do yourself a favor. Don't self-diagnose yourself. Let's say self again. Self. Instead, if you have an emergency or something that you're unsure of and you don't know what the fuck is going on, go to the hospital, go see your doctor, go see a specialist, go see a medical professional, right? Get the answers that you need. Get the medications that you need. If there's nothing, then there's nothing, right? And from there, you have your answers. You have a platform to stand on, right? You're not in a rush to do the program, right? Because you have your answers. You're somewhat stable now, right? Don't go down the functional medicine rabbit hole, right? Because it's all bullshit. Trust me, you're just wasting time. The protocols are worse. Wasting money. It's all about supplements and protocols. It's garbage. It's shit. Trust me. But if it's a real medical emergency, go get checked, get your answers, because this also gives you a little bit of relief, one less thing for you to worry about. And it might be, news that you don't want to hear, but don't worry. It's just news now. It's just for now, right? But now, you have the coping mechanism, you have the medications that you're taking now, so that you bought some time, you're not in a rush, and then you start doing the program. And in time, you will bring down your baseline, right? Sorry. You will bring down your bucket, and you'll bring down your baseline from 1,000 to 0, right? Your alarm system will go back online to standby, right? And your alarms, meaning symptoms, mental or physical, they will turn off. And you will recover and restore and regulate your nervous system, and all the symptoms will go as a consequence. And you'll be free of all the autoimmune, all the SIBOs and, histamine issues, you name it. They will go as a consequence. Right? And also, the labels. Don't live for the labels. Even if you're diagnosed with something, it's not the end of the world. It's just, you're on pause for now. That's all. It's just a temporary diagnosis. It's just a temporary thing that's happening in your life. You can reverse shit. You can regulate shit. Right? Don't go Googling. Don't ask the doctors, hey, can you cure this? They're going to have to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to keep reaffirming that label, and your brain's going to stick to it. Trust me. Don't even bother. Don't go, yeah, but I heard somebody say on YouTube that you can cure this. They'll be like, you can use coping mechanisms with diet, but that's about it. Sorry, this isn't something that you can cure, sir. Okay, well then what caused it? We're not sure. Well, you don't really know much about it? All we know is we have medications to keep you so that you can okay? Alright, so I have to stay on the medication for the rest of my life? Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't want to get off it ever. Right? So there's a balance when it comes to doctors. You go to them when you have something to get, your mind at ease, but then you use that information to stand on, to do the program, and to restore and recover. And then you let go of it. And when you're ready, you get off the medication when you're ready. Right? Also with the guidance of your doctor. Right? You work with them together. Right? And then you move forward. And that's it. Right? It's just temporary shit. Right? And then you let go of the labels eventually. And then you eventually find out that the labels were bullshit. You just needed to regulate. Right? But at the time, we hold on to labels. And that's fine. That's okay. In the beginning, do it. Right? Keep your coping mechanisms. Take your medication. Right? And then eventually, when you do the program, right, and you recover, then you'll be at a state where you're able to do things without it causing problems. Eventually, you'll be at a point where you can make the decisions. Right? You'll be restored, recovered. You'll be at a better place, and you can make the choice if you want to, talk to your doctor about getting off medications and being fully recovered and restored and free. Free of all medications, right? Free of everything, just living a happy life. And not self-diagnosing anymore, right? You want to learn. Don't do that. I also see that when I talk to people online, on YouTube or emails, people will say, yeah, but hold on, I just got, I have this, and this. I'm like, oh, you have that? And from my experience, and from what I've seen on YouTube land and emails, first thing I ask them, I just sound like a... First thing I say is, were you diagnosed with this by a doctor? Did a doctor diagnose you with this? 9 times out of 10, they usually say no. Actually, no. Well, what else could it be? Well, I think it was. Well, I'm assuming. right? Then you go, okay, well, you got sucked in by the Facebook groups, didn't you? Right? I've been there, done that. Don't do that, right? Stop it. You're not, you don't have XYZ diagnosis, right? And if you do have XYZ diagnosis, don't make it your life. It's temporary. It's just a temporary thing. You'll get out of it, right? You're going to be free from it.